Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to LCK 2020 Spring. I'm Atlas, joined by Wadid, and for some reason, it is game number 3 time between SANDBOX and DRX. SANDBOX coming back with a vengeance in game number 2, but honestly, the early game was pretty terrible for DRX, and then the Aphelios was just able to scale and scale and scale, and come out ahead in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure who deserves the win, but anyways, at the end, SANDBOX got the win, so it's game 3 right now, and I really cannot predict the game at 3 because both teams are actually performing way worse than we expected.
Yeah,
so.
And actually, to be honest, like, we didn't have very many expectations for SANDBOX. They were already performing pretty poorly. But you're right. I want to see the time where DRX actually managed to show us some consistently good performances, because game 1 they were great. You know, game 1 was a really good showing. Like, Kyoshik didn't have the greatest game, but the rest of the team certainly did put him on their backs and were able to control it. But in game number 2, man, like, I don't know, Def didn't have a great one. You could tell that he was frustrated. Punch is going to pick up player of the game, so all is right in the world with player of the game predictions. This guy's Gragas was fantastic.
Yeah, kill part direction at 15 minutes, 100%. Which means just early game kingdom by Punch right there.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I mean, this first gank made the first blood, and in the time that they stopped the trophy, it was all Punch either. So it was just so great sub-in by SANDBOX right there. And yeah, late game team fight, Root did the carry, but I really don't think they should reach to the point that it is actually late game with that lead that actually Punch made. So
yeah,
it was interesting, but still, I'm really happy that Punch got there.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, Root played well, and he did a hell of a lot of damage, but it was all because his front line was able to provide him so much space. There was no way for DRX to actually get on top of the Aphelios.
Ooh, look at this ult.
So clean.
Clean.
Love it. Great to see. And, ooh. Okay, so we get the, I think it's like decider votes, the analysts and the observer. So we add them together and see who's going to be able to get it from there. Jonah Strong, of course, is going to be voting for Lonely for some reason. Not sure why that happened.
I mean, it's mixed, so we are not sure if it's Jonah Strong or not. But
no,
yeah,
he's the first observer. I had that confirmed, so I can now blame him effectively.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, what I know is those 3 golden votes are affecting more than normal votes.
Yeah, so they're the tiebreaker ones, right?
Yeah, so that is actually Jonah Strong. So yeah, he voted for top lane for some reason. For some reason this game.
Well, it's okay, because Punch managed to get the player of the game, and however he got there, we don't mind.
Yeah.
He did it in the end, so that's totally okay. We are going to be jumping into the pick and ban, though, here for game number 3, and DRX will be back on our blue side. And our blue side has won every game so far, so theoretically, DRX should be favored, right? But we'll see whether it's going to be SANDBOX making a better decision, because if they pick another Aatrox, you guys might just have to go and watch the Korean broadcast, because we might just have to go. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, Korean Israel, there is some good Korean champions, you know, like Korean Israel or Korean Jays or something.
Yeah.
But Korean Aatrox, this is the worst combination I ever seen in my life. Because as a pro player, you have to get some reason to pick that champion, and I'm trying to find out why they're picking Aatrox for every single game.
Yeah.
I have no idea, because it loses lane and it's not affecting any side lanes compared to Ornn or Set, and I'm not sure if it's that good team fighter either. So yeah, I mean, SANDBOX won the game with Aatrox, so they might just pick it again.
I hope not. Well, Syndra is going to be banned here. The Aatrox is still available, guys. Don't you worry. SANDBOX, one last ban is up here. Remember, Kalista fell all the way through the draft last time around, as there's the Varus ban, and that might give DRX an avenue to head towards something like a Kalista first pick.
Or or Senna.
Yeah, or Ornn. Or Set.
Ornn, Set.
There's a lot available right now.
Yeah, there's so many things that you can see, and their choice was just Senna.
Yep, so Fasting Senna once again here. It was nerfed a little bit on this patch. I'm going to go through just to see what the numbers were like. It's just that the attack damage per soul has gone from 1 to 0.75, and there's a cooldown a little bit that has been increased early. So you're not going to be able to pick up too many of those things. But Set and the Callista both locked in here from SANDBOX, and I like it. It's not Aatrox, so that is great news. There's now 5 seconds to go, and it is going to be, of course, the Senatom Kench. Very standard stuff. And Pyoshik back on the Trundle once again. I'm a little bit worried. I would prefer them just to pick up Ornn here. You could just do it, guys. You just lock in Ornn.
I mean, I think they just want to put Pyoshik on an easy champion.
I think Jarvan would have been better though, right? I don't know. Would have felt good. Anyway, the Taric is going to be locked away here, and you're right. The Trundle is definitely easy, but this will mean that Lonely will be most likely playing that Set, as the Taric has been locked into the support position. And we are going to have some very stable bottom lanes here in game number 3, as Senatom Kench feels pretty hard to move them out of lane. And the Callista Taric are in a similar boat, especially when they're up against something like this that isn't as dangerous as, you know, the Thresh and Varus that we saw in game number 1.
My question is, are they gonna ban 5 mid champions against Dove right here? Cause
they could.
Yeah.
I mean, the LeBlanc is already banned. Yeah, I think that Punch getting the respect ban off the Gragas does make some sense.
Yeah, it does.
But what it's going to be afterwards, we'll just have to find out. I think that maybe DRX just pivot and they ban the Jarvan and the Gragas right here. Could certainly work out for them. As 4 seconds to go, and we're seeing what SANDBOX actually want to take away here. And Renekton is going to hit the bench.
I'm glad that they finally banned Lucian, because it was affecting all the laning phase, and they couldn't even try to win 2v2 when Chovy got to Lucian. So I think this is a great choice, even though if they pick Lucian again right here, then they might have full AD comp. But still, respecting towards Chovy, it's great.
Yeah, I like it.
Just ban it, you know, if you are just having a hard time to play against it.
Well, there's the Pantheon ban. So far, I'm looking at Dragon X to get a mage in the mid lane and then a Ornn for the top side, something like that. But 13 seconds to go. SANDBOX are going to reveal a Sylas, which could mean a jungle Sylas to be coming in, but he could be flexed around as well, depending on what Dragon X are going to do. And I like the Sylas picked up here to deny any Ornns from coming down.
Or magic damage, because DRX seems like they really need magic damage here.
Well, that's Aatrox. I'm getting scared. It's, you know, it makes a little bit more sense in this scenario because they don't want to pick Ornn into Sylas again. But I want to see some big magic damage coming out from Chovy in the mid lane. I don't know what champion he's going to fall back on. His champion pool is definitely gigantic. But I like this, the Nico to come down. 10 seconds to go. And this will provide a lot of AoE. And you can see SANDBOX's composition is already very short range. But it's going to be the Karma mid this time. Okay, I don't mind it.
This is just perfect setup for Aatrox, I think. With the Senna, Tomcash, Karma, just pilling Aatrox to 1v9 this game. I think it sounds really great here.
All right, well, we'll see how it is going to go. As we're going to move Chovy into more of a supportive role.
I think it might be top Karma.
Ooh, that could work. Because that's the classic. Just take one of these casters into set and stop him from being relevant.
Yeah, and it seems like Aatrox should be the one who carries the game with all the support. So I think Chovy fits on this role right
Absolutely. Here. I completely agree. I love it. Okay, so Dragon X are going to pick another Aatrox comp, but we don't hate it this time.
Oh, yeah?
It's okay.
I mean, they have right composition to have 1v9 Aatrox, literally. So I think this is great, and I know that this matchup should be Aatrox favor with the Ignite. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen on mid 2v2, because mid 2v2 is most important thing in League of Legends right now. So even though they have some really tricky matchup on the bot side like Senna, Tahm Kench, and Kalista Tarek, it should be mid first that they all need to take care about it.
Yeah, I also really like Trundle Aatrox as far as a ganking duo as well. I think that the pillar is really powerful in making sure that Aatrox can get all of his combo to hit perfectly, because you get not only the knockup for the extra CC, but then the persistent slow is fantastic. So we'll see whether Chovy can utilize that with Pyosik, and whether Pyosik can just have a better performance. Like, I hope that CV Max went over and just shook him and was like, Pyosik, get your head together. Let's sort this out and let's get into game number 2 and feel better about it, because this could be a Dragon X that have a decent team comp, right? Like they managed to navigate the draft very well, but their play is going to tell us whether they have tilted off the planet. And DRX are a team that tilts real easy. And I want to see this to be a better performance from them to show us that they can have that mental fortitude like we were talking about at the end of game 1. And the end of game 2, sorry.
And top Karma, I'm not sure what he's to play.
Has to flash. Good knock up there from Chovy just to make sure that Carrier is safe, but that's not what you want to see early. Flash already on cooldown for your Tahm Kench.
I mean, round 2 Carrier is like, he's aggressive like round 1, but without anything.
Yeah.
He's just running in. Like, I'm Carrier, how dare you, you know? But they're like not scared at all to play against it. So he's like, some plays are really question marks, but still it's fine because it's fasting Senna with the fat Tahm Kench this game, so maybe pops off.
Yeah, I think Sir Thomas Kench might make his way back in, which is our name for Tahm Kench when he's actually a decent pickup. He was Timothy Kenshin's the Squire. He didn't quite have the same title when it was Tahm Kench picked in awkward positions. But this game, you know, I like the Tahm Kench that can build Ninja Tabi into Dead Man's Plate and be basically impossible to kill. And you can see Kerry has actually taken the teleport here this time as well. So he's basically going to be a solo laner this game.
And they swap the lane, it seems like. Lone lane is mid lane, and Dove is playing top lane.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, they have 2 TPs, so they can always change the lanes. So this is great. I think you should be able to kill Karma all the game, and with Silence it should be more easier.
Yeah, you can see here towards the bottom side of the map, both of these bot lanes do have a fair bit of sustain, so the Piercing Darkness from Death should be able to keep him alive. As we check in on the top side, good face breaker there, but Chovy's going to Umbral Dash himself to safety. And we'll just see whether DRX can continue to have the lane kingdom that they really enjoy, or whether Pyosik's going to be able to do something good here this game and actually affect it positively, because that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a turnaround in the Pyosik performance.
I mean, this lane swap was actually a brilliant idea, because they got the mid priority right now.
Yep.
Because normally, when you play Silas, I don't think you expect him to have early pressure against Ignite Aatrox right there. So this might help the SANDBOX bot lane to play more aggressive on the bot lane, which is so great to stop DRX to snowball early game. Because I mean, I mentioned it like 10 times already that if Keria can move or Depth can have lane pressure, then DRX game seems like way more easier than any other cases, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree.
So, this is such a great start by SANDBOX, but still, as you mentioned it, Pyosik needs to break something and bring something for his team to carry the game.
Well, he's bottom side right now. Good snare is going to land as Deft is going to go relatively untargetable. The pillar comes down in absolutely the wrong spot. And so Pyosik's just going to do a drive-by and get himself out.
Well, they got the flash on the Tarek, so Tahm Kench should able to farm way more easier. And he has TP to regen his HP, so it's still great for DRX right there.
He can go back and then make it back into the lane pretty easily, exactly, as Lonely. Looking for Chovy, but the flash is going to be utilized. A lot of respect given there as Doran is going to get the snare onto Dove. And we'll see whether he has the mantra available soon in order to get that health bar back up, utilizing the W in order to siphon that health. Is now Pyosik just standing, making sure that he can attempt to stop punch, but a level advantage here for the Jarvan. And Doran with an inside track. Chovy also able to get some vision here. As Lonely has been discovered. Now Chovy with a big minion wave, so it means that the Rift Scuttler will go over to punch. Just extra control topside here for SANDBOX. Good play so far, but also a good response from DRX to recognize that they couldn't fight in that scenario.
Oh yeah. Thank God. If they fought there without any thinking, then that might be disaster for DRX right now.
Well, you can see Dove, he's going to clear out this wave. And Doran with his mantraed Q is going to keep getting that harass down, but also has lane control right here as well with a decent CS advantage. As you can see, the back came in, Carrier gets himself his Ninja Tabi, and he will have Flash back available very soon. And so it feels like the bottom lane is out of the woods for now. As Doran to teleport back in, has himself his refillable potion, a control ward, Fiendish Codex, and of course the ring that he started off with. So a very happy Karma up here, and will have a little bit more control because has a little bit of extra money from his items and that CS advantage that he picked up. So a happy Karma on the top side of the map.
I'm sad that the Kleptomancy is gone, so he cannot milk Dove anymore, but still, having a Karma on the top side against melee champion is so great. And you didn't even get the gank, so he is fine on the top side, and all they need to do is just have fat Aatrox, or you don't even actually need fat Aatrox, because your comp is just so easy. It's gonna make it so easy for Aatrox to play aggressive in the team fight.
Yeah, and I mean, Tahm Kench can play aggressive in the team fight as well. I mean, now that he's got all of this extra money, it's going to mean that he's a real fighting force. Is now Dove going to use his own mantra. It's exactly not the ultimate that you want to be stealing, to be perfectly honest. As Doran once again looking for that snare, gets the Q. And a fair bit of damage, but Dove is going to survive for the moment. But it just shows that this Karma matchup into the Sylas is rough for the Sylas. And remember, this was Dove switching towards topside to try and avoid the Aatrox matchup. Like, this is the best that they could do.
Yeah. I mean, they decide to have this matchup, so it doesn't make sense that they're losing so hard in lane, 1v1. Especially.
Yeah, and look at this. Doran's going to deny all of this farm. Will pick himself up a plate as well, I believe. Yep, gets that gold. 160 into his back pocket, and you can see Total CS is winning in every lane here for DRX.
Yeah, and I think they should able to get Ollie Drake SANDBOX, because they have Kalista matchup on the bot side, and they had the pressure for the Ollie game, but it seems like they lost the chance to get the Drake Ollie.
Oh yeah, true.
This is not great news for them, which is they're starting to have bot pressure, DRX, as a TK Senna.
Yeah, and look at the Tahm Kench farm. Carrier is like smashing root and farm right now. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Def just clearing out wards.
Yeah, there is a big base, so maybe it's not that huge
that's true.
that you might think, but still, having a Tahm Kench lane with the lane pressure is still great. And you didn't even give up the Drake against Kalista, so it sounds really great.
Yeah, and Pyosik hasn't been a problem so far this game, so that is certainly good news as well. As he's moving up towards the Herald, but you can see DRX have not actually moved their bottom lane this time. Pyosik will be able to clear out this ward as it pops over the wall. And now Doran with his lane priority, and Chovy with the same situation, should mean that they will be able to get this without investing their bottom lane.
Yeah, I mean, if you can add your bot lane pressure to header, then it's really great, but if you don't need it, you don't need it. And DRX has enough top lane pressure, so they actually just did it by himself, and it's gonna accelerate DRX to snowball this game earlier.
Yeah, and they might even be able to give all of the plate gold over to Chovy as well, which is sort of in line with what you were talking about with this being sort of the Aatrox heaven type composition. As Chovy slightly messes up with his abilities there, Lonely with a phase breaker. But Chovy's still in a decent position and has World Ender. Remember, these trades are not what they look like, because Chovy presses R and gets all of his health back, and he's the one that has Ignite in this situation.
These trades are just touching each other.
Whoa!
Not like
Flash for flash. as well. Then comes in.
He's
Oh
mad.
man, yeah, Chovy playing aggressively, has Pyosik here as punch, waiting to try and get this one done. Is going to get the knock up, but remember, Worldender is going to help Chovy out, and Pyosik puts down the pillar. They invest the ignite, but they're not able to get the kill just yet, as Dove with the Kingslayer is going to get snared, does attach another one, as Dove trying to dive on top of Doran here. The Inspire Shield is going to be effective, and now Dove is completely out of mana, and not going to be able to fight anymore.
Yeah, it seems like top lane matchup is also punching each other, you know, not like punching each other.
It's just a friendly little fight. There's a good snare with a bit of damage onto Gorilla, but no worries there either. The Sandbox? As yeah, I feel like the bottom lane and the top lane are pretty similar. It's like they can fight as much as you want, but you know that there's not going to be any kills.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Sandbox
like
with Drake. Lonely's going to move over first, though, so this should be just a free Infernal Drake. Next one going to be Ocean, so we're heading towards a Mountain or a Cloud Soul this game.
Yeah, the timing that they did the Drake, it was really great timing, that they got the bolt pressure. So, yeah, as I mentioned it, as Kalista, you should able to get only Drake, and they did it. I would say Sandbox is on their point right now since game 2, even though they delayed the game too much with the huge advantage. They are still getting all the advantages this game, so yeah, great news.
Yeah, and this is just good play out of Sandbox. This isn't like what we were talking about with Dragon X, like sometimes, you know, being their own worst enemy. This is just Sandbox playing out their composition well and making intelligent choices, and that's what we want to see from our LCK teams, just better play. And so far, that is what we're getting. Dragon X, I mean, they're not in a poor position by any means, right? They're still close to a 2,000 gold lead.
Yeah,
and
because of the CS difference on the top side and mid lane, probably.
Yeah. And Chovy still happily playing his Aatrox, just scaling up to get some items. And looking for his Black Cleaver next.
So Daft is moving because he's actual support position in this comp. So he's matching Gorilla with the bomb here.
Yeah, I like it. Lands this snare as well. Over onto Lonely.
Pattern on the top side for the overrun.
Yep, and all that plate gold going over to Pyosik and himself as well. Taking a bit of damage. Good knock up there onto the Trundle, but he has Subjugate to keep himself alive.
TP by Carrier.
The Inspire Shield should be there, and you're exactly right. Carrier is going to turn up. The Dazzle not going to find anyone as Chovy finally up here. This tower is very low, but it is still alive. Now Carrier with the Grey Health, he eats it up at exactly the right time, as there's the Cosmic Radiance underneath the turret, but it looks like Dragon X will be able to just wait it out. Piercing Darkness over the top as well. We will be able to see this 5v5. The ulti from Death does come down to keep everyone alive, as now Chovy grabs that first kill. Dove still alive, but he's been ignited, and Chovy should be able to grab this one, as it is Pyosik that locks that one down. Carrier tanking up the turret for approximately forever, and Pyosik is the only one to die after it's all said and done.
That was clean dive by DRX, even though it was 5v4. It seemed like quite dangerous because tower couldn't be one-shot by DRX, but still damage aggro and tower aggro control by DRX was perfect.
Yeah, really clean stuff. And Pyosik falling down at the end there, just a little bit unfortunate that they weren't able to finish off the turret at that time, as we have a look at this dive once again.
I mean, if you focus Trundle first, then you can never one-shot Trundle, like especially Silence Jarvan. And the Taric ulti by Gorilla, that timing was kind of bad. They needed when they actually ran into them.
Yeah.
But they used the Taric ulti for no reason, and they got the same overclock back because Kalista is the bolt.
Yeah, it was really, really nice stuff. I could imagine that there was a chance to take down this turret here to keep Pyosik alive, but it doesn't actually matter. Carrier playing out this particular moment very, very well. And then Pyosik just a little bit unlucky that he's the one that picked up the turret aggro and had that turret shot land before the Piercing Darkness was able to go over the top. So can't be too worried about it. And now it's 4-1 in favor of Dragon X. And that was actually first blood top lane as well. So that dive was the beginning of the bloodshed this game.
Yeah, and Aatrox eventually got the 2 kills, and he has 250 goals of the bounty.
My God, yeah.
That means he's strong enough to carry, be a carry machine.
and also just straight up has his Death's Dance already completed.
Yeah.
You can see that these players really do like the Death's Dance on the Aatrox, the new, more defensive version of the item. And having that staggered damage is actually brilliant for Aatrox, even without the lifesteal, just because you are, as sort of this like lifesteal tank that you kind of are as the Aatrox, it works out very well to stagger that damage and not take it all in one hit.
And yeah, and as you mentioned it, Aatrox is getting bigger, which is so great for their comp. Their comp is all about Aatrox. This comp is made for Aatrox. And all the time.
And it's cool because like now we get to see Aatrox pick in the right position, right? And that is right now. Like
exactly.
This is a comp that Aatrox is a good pick in, but they picked it proactively. Like they decided that Aatrox was going to be the champion that they build around, and they do so instead of just saying Aatrox is available, let's pick it. Which is what happens when SANDBOX just picks Aatrox over and over again. And I tell you what, it would be really ironic if DRX wins this game with the Aatrox against SANDBOX, who finally didn't pick Aatrox themselves. It's exactly what we've been asking for, but unfortunately, they're going to lose to an Aatrox comp.
Yeah, I mean, main problem for SANDBOX right now is, I mean, they got the first raid, which means they got the early prior in the bot lane, but it was not enough for them to snowball the game, and the top dive was just... They tried to fight in the first place, but Kalista was on bot side, and they knew that all the 5 members can come on the top side from DRX, so they just need to be calm and collected. They're the team of the... we could actually see some team plays by SANDBOX from last game, you know? Not like one random player is just running in, like game 1. So they have to make some team plays more and more, not like they just want to make random fights.
Yeah, and they also need to do it around their power spikes as well, and Root is going to get there eventually. Heading towards Runan's Hurricane now. He really wants to get to that item, but had to build the Executioner's Calling first because of the ridiculous amount of healing that's on this team. In fact, everyone with healing potential. You might even see Dove pick up a Morellonomicon on his Silas, to be honest, just to try and help with the healing reduction, because they need to find as much of it as they can. As it stands, though, at 16 minutes into this game, there is about a 4,000 gold lead for DRX, maybe just a little bit less than that. But it's getting harder and harder for SANDBOX as just this DRX comp just looks to be working much better, and just the clear idea that DRX has, like they know what they want to achieve and they're doing it very well so far. Like they've identified how their composition is going to win this game and they're playing around it.
When I was pro player, I was always communicating about the power spikes, about the damage dealers. So right now when I think about the SANDBOX gaming, then I think they need at least 2 items. So they shouldn't even think about the fight, because Tom Kench already got the Deathman's plate.
Oh, he's a really big boy.
I don't think their team composition is better than DRX right now at this point. So they should be able to get 2 items normally, and then try to fight. But it's gonna take some time.
It is, because we're a full item away from it for Lonely, for Dove, for Root. All of them not quite there just yet. And you can see DRX are pretty happily moving into their items. It's going to be a Lichbane Karma coming in as well after the Athene's completed. I love it. Absolutely fantastic. Of course, Karma does synergize with auto attacks. It lowers the cooldown on your mantra. So may as well make the machine proc. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I was expecting more crazy things from Dora.
Yeah,
like
true. Maybe he'll grab that one next. His Dove has to dash out of the Infernal Chains. Goshik trying to get into position here, has Deft right next to him to keep him alive, and you can see Chovy with the World Ender just going aggressively. Has to flash as the Fate's Call does come down. Umbral dash to get over the wall. But now Goshik finding himself 1 versus 3. There's the showstopper onto Chovy, but it hasn't really done enough here as the Cosmic Radiance is going to wear off, and Dove has to flash to get himself out. Great Devour there from Keria, and showing us how this Dragon X composition is going to work. Chovy is just really hard to kill.
Yeah, and that was really great, simple left click by Chovy. Maybe if you actually did a left click there, then Lonely can actually deliver him to a SANDBOX side, but actually that was really great move by Chovy right
Yeah, really clean stuff. And Chovy now up to eat some celebratory honey fruit as he gets back towards the top side of the map and continues just pushing things relentlessly. He has a huge CS lead as well. 200 to the 144 of Dove. And we're going to spot him getting caught out once again as Chovy playing so far up.
Yeah, and look at the last timing that he played to the left. If he didn't do that, then he's going to deliver fire.
Yeah.
That left.
Beautiful. Beautiful stuff. And then Root tried to get on top of him. Look at this. Carrier just flash devour. And then Chovy's going to be absolutely fine.
Yeah, it's, again, Aatrox 1v9 comp, so they just need to support Aatrox to do his job right now. And he didn't die there, which is so great because he had huge bounty on him. So
yeah.
They should just make him alive all the time. That's all they need to do.
Well, still sitting at 2-0-2 after that initial top dive. Haven't seen too much more after that, apart from that one little skirmish. And we've got a Mountain Drake available in 30 seconds time. That's why you see Dragon X just trying to shove out this mid wave. Haven't been able to do too much meaningful damage on either side to these mid-outer turrets. So this game of the K-Ram is going to be more difficult for both sides, but look at that. Big burst damage onto Root as he's underneath his turret now.
Chovy is getting chased.
Yeah, but Facebreaker is going to miss, and they're not able to actually close the distance onto him. Kyoshik here in the mid lane, trying to get some meaningful damage onto this outer turret, but goes to just over half health.
Yeah, and again, side lane pressures, which is affecting mid lane prior most, is just happy for the DRX right now. So they just need to do something before they get all the pressure.
Well, they're doing something right now as the Abyssal Voyage does bring Def and Carrier in here. Dove lying in wait. As the hijack comes in, it's going to be able to give a Dawning Shadow over to Dove, as now there's the gigantic damage right into the backline there, but the Drake is taken from Kyoshik in the meantime, and DRX get underneath their turret, and they've got so much healing. Like, it's just ridiculous. Look, everyone's getting back up to full health already, and it's not because of too many Ocean Drakes or anything like that. But now the Cosmic Radiance for the re-engage. Punch is going to go golden as he goes golden again with the ulti coming through from the turret, but it's a trade of kills. The Aatrox does eventually go down as now Punch having to get out as now Carrier devours Doran, and you're seeing Def trying to get damage done, but Carrier's going to have to eat that great health. He does so as Doran gives him a shield there as well, and he survives for so damn long. Lonely tanking up the turret for too long. Dove is going to get snared, and Def just pops him for a second kill. And Dragon X, they didn't even need their jungler this time around, as Kyoshik is well behind enemy lines, but Def picks himself up the quadra kill, and Dragon X are in all of the control.
Oh my god, they just did 4v5, but their team comp is just so wonderful to watch. That's what I just said, you know, Karma and Senna and Tom Kench. They didn't even have Aatrox in that team fight. They just cut it out really well. And
I mean, that was 3v5 for most of it. Oh, 3v4, I guess, because there was a trade of kills. But when you saw Chovy going down, I mean, I was a little bit worried. I was like, this is an Aatrox composition. Like, how are they supposed to be able to win here? But they then just stand behind their Tom Kench and let Def do all of the damage.
Yeah, I mean, Doran just flashed into form, and that was the shocking part of the skirmishes right there. And yeah, I mean, this was great re-engage by SANDBOX right there. And they almost got the Aatrox, but unluckily, the Senna target killed him. But anyways, it was 5v4, so there was no reason to SANDBOX to back out here, so that's why they just fought.
Yeah, and you can see there's a Trundle just in the mid lane. I mean, he managed to get the outer turret in mid while all this was going on, and you can see the Ren did some work. I mean, the layering of the Cosmic Radiance and the stopwatch wasn't great from Punch, but it's still like Gorilla had better timing on his Cosmic Radiance this time around, but it just wasn't enough. I mean, look at the extra shields. Like, Carrier gets an Inspire shield as well as his Grey health. And then SANDBOX just ran out of buttons that they could press. Like, and look, Deft has full health after this whole skirmish. Like, it's ridiculous.
Karma and Senna and Tom Kench. It reminds me so much.
Oh yeah.
It actually feels similar. That it's actually strong by himself, you know, Sona and Senna.
Yep. No, it's the same sort of thing. It certainly reminds me of the Tom Kenches just being way too strong. And Lonely looking for a flank here, but they're going to lose their inhibitor turret in the mid lane. And Kochik's just playing frontline so beautifully. Root in trouble as the Dawning Shadow flies in, but Root is going to dodge it for the moment. Dove off to the side, but Chobi's just gigantic as Lonely does get into the backline, but it's just not doing enough. As now Kochik has closed the gap onto Root. Now Root trying to get depth, but he can't even get through the damn shield.
No one is dying.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they are on SANDBOX's side. DRX are cleaning up right here, and this should just be the end of the game. And this just goes to show that if you get a good draft, it just looks impossible for your opponent to win. 12,000 gold the lead, and DragonX will just storm it up the mid lane and take down game number 3.
Yeah, great team fight, great strat, and really decisive plays by DRX right there. So it was just 25 minutes until the Nexus break.
And I don't know who I want to give the player of the game to. That's the thing that's hard, right? Like, do we give it to Doran for playing well on the Karma? Like, do we give it to Deft for his quadra kill and his great play? Oh man, I don't know.
For me, it's Doran, because
I mean, even
that flashing into 4-man just shocked me on the top side. So, and he survived. He actually managed to survive all the gank pressure against Silas, and he was actually winning laning phase whole time. So that helped a lot for the team, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it was also after the lane swap that SANDBOX put in place. So, like, even with SANDBOX trying to make sure that it was like the best possible situation for them, Doran still clapped them. So, yeah, no, I agree. And it's going to mean back-to-back player of the games for Doran as well, which is really good to see from DragonX, because in the first few games of last week's play for DragonX, we were getting shades of like solo queue Doran, you know, like the guy that was borderline inting for a lot of the time. And that wasn't great to see if you're a DragonX fan. But this was Doran playing out 2 very different champions and playing them to really great effect.
Yeah, I mean, if you are a Karma player, I think you get actually impressed by this Karma play, because his positioning always, it was so great. And when he needs to be aggressive, he was always on front, and he didn't die this game.
Yeah,
that was really great job.
Yeah, really, really clean stuff. And utilizing his like CC and shields effectively in the middle of these team fights, you can just watch him walking around, helping everyone and keeping himself out of trouble the whole time as well. I mean, this had a lot to do with both the Senna and the Karma, but I think that the Karma was certainly the most pivotal factor here in this game. As he didn't build the Lich Bane, by the way. It was actually the Iceborne Gauntlet, which makes a lot more sense when you're up against physical damage, things like that, and you're able to get even more CC. I was a bit sad. I would have liked to have seen the Lich Bane, but that's fine.
Nashor 2's Karma, man.
Oh,
that's what I'm waiting for.
Like Power of Evil special, you know, like his Orianna.
Oh, yeah?
He used to be the Nash's Orianna guy. But Nash's Karma, that feels real good. Hopefully that comes in next time.
Yeah, and also really happy to see Keria is performing really well in this game. I mean, maybe some people are saying that Keria deserves a POG, but he lost his flash at level 1 for no reason, so...
You can't give it to him. Messed up too bad in the early game.
Yeah. I mean, that's just not acceptable for POG players.
No, you can't get a POG after inting level 1. Can't do that.
Yeah.
Although,
so
he's picked up a player of the game after doing that. His Pike performance, if you remember, entered underneath the turret and then hard carried the game. But I think that was a different scenario. He was his first Pike game was very, very good.
And also Deft picking up the quarter kill with the support. Even though you support well, anyways, at the end, your damage dealers need to work. So Deft did his job.
Yeah, he played very, very well. I actually wouldn't mind if Deft got the player of the game here. I think that Doran was the standout performer here, but Deft also played a really, really good Senna Tahm Kench game. And sure, she's pretty overtuned at the moment, but you still have to be able to play well in order to lock that one down. And his positioning was vintage Deft, you know? This is the deft play that you really do want to see, that he used to be known for, which is just being in exactly the right position to do damage.
Yeah, just flashing into enemy, not like cleans the Aphelios turret, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
This is what we want from Deft.
And he did 20,000 damage on fasting center as well, which is damn impressive. What the heck? And again, it's a root performance where he's not quite able to do what he needs to do on the Kalista.
Oh, yeah.
This time around, he did more damage than the enemy support, so that's good news. But otherwise, not exactly what you want to see. But if you are a DRX fan, this is a much better performance, and getting a turnaround after a loss is what we were focusing on last time as well, is making sure that they can reset their mental, and they did in this game. It was an intelligent draft. Like, honestly, if we could give the player of the game to the coaches for the draft, I'd give it to CVMAX right now. But
yeah,
we can't do it. CVMAX has like been known for either genius drafts or disaster drafts, but that was a fantastic one.
Yeah, like Talia Fanteon 3 games in a row.
Should we blame LS because, of course, BBQ is the team to debut that, or what should we do? I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways, this game was just full of perfection. The draft and gameplay, both are really great. But my question is, was Pyoshi great enough for the win for this game?
I'm not entirely sure, but Deft is going to pick up the player of the game. We delivered the MVP over to Doran, but like we were talking about, we do not mind that Deft grabbed this. 9-0-5 on the Senna. Support, by the way, 35% of his team's damage. And it's a bit silly that he's able to do that on a champion that doesn't get all that much gold. It's a bit silly. So Senna maybe needs to, go back, get hit with the nerf bat yet again. But nerfed on this patch doesn't look like it actually did anything.
Yeah, I mean, but also composition helped a bit. So I don't think it was all about Senna. Because if Senna is that broken, then everyone should just pick it up at the first.
Yeah, it's true. And I mean, we've seen, drafting and working out exactly which champions are the strongest has been difficult for some of our LCK teams. But this time around, I think that they figured out that the Senna is pretty damn busted. And we'll see whether that memo is going to get to either Griffin or KT in our next matchup. As this was all about Doran, like kept Keria alive for just way too long. And then SANDBOX they'd ran out of buttons, just had no more opportunities, and Deft says, well, I guess I'll be the garbage man now and just take out the trash.
Yeah, I mean, this is the performance that we were expecting from DRX.
Yeah.
Smart aggressiveness. So this is such a great move, and we are the only one that actually voted for Dora.
Don't worry, I'm with you. I'm with you, brother. Don't worry, it's fine. I'm still standing by our decisions here. As you can see Lyra. Can you see Lyra on your screen? He's like looking at us like, what the heck were you guys thinking?
Yeah, I mean,
they voted for the level 1 Inter, so you can't. Come on, guys.
Oh yeah.
Come on.
Oh come on, come on. He flashed for no reason.
Yeah,
man.
exactly. But still, even though their flash was down in the early game, they played out the laning phase very well, and I think that giving the player of the game to Deft does make some sense just based on his scoreline, the fact that he was a support and did 35% of the team's damage. Numbers-wise, statistics-wise, Deft played extraordinarily well, but I think that having a Karma in his back pocket that whole time and the composition revolving around it was definitely good. But let's throw it over to Jason for some interview translation.
그러게요.
네. 역시 자신감 넘치는 두 분 일단 만나보겠습니다. 자, 도란 선수 승리 축하드립니다.
아, 감사합니다.
네, 감사합니다. 만장일치 POG거든요, 본인의.
네.
소감 한 말씀 부탁드려요.
네, 오랜만에 POG 받아서 기분 좋아요.
사실 오랜만에 POG 받은 거는 옆에 데프트 선수
After a very long time.
데프트 선수도 2월
And Deft,
중순쯤에
you
받고
actually took a long time to pick up
오늘은
this POG
거의
again.
사실상 데프트 선수의 좋은
And
장면들이 굉장히
today,
많이 나왔던
you
경기가
are
나왔거든요.
popping
어떻습니까?
off.
오랜만에 POG인데요.
How are you feeling right now?
네, 일단 2경기 때도 이길 수 있었던 것
Well, I
같은데
think we were close to winning game number 2 as well, but I just got popped up like a
2경기 때 이기고
balloon.
받고 싶었는데
So,
그게 좀 아쉽.
I mean, I really wanted to win and then get a POG, so I was a little bit sad.
그럼 경기 전반적으로 한번 여쭤볼까요? 첫 번째가 이제 칼리타릭을
So in game number 1,
풀어주면서
you kind of
경기를
opened
펼쳤는데
Klissa and
어떻습니까? 여기에
Park.
대해서는 팀 내에서 칼리타릭 일단 풀어줘도
Was that kind
괜찮다라는
of team's
판단이 좀
decision
있었나요?
that was not a top tier comp right now?
저희도 처음 해봐서 네, 오늘
Well,
경기하면서 좋았던 것 같아요. 그냥 느낌상 좋을 것
Like
같아서
it was the
했던
first
것
time for us to kind of
네.
actually play it
예.
in games, so we had
그럼
good
어떤
feelings, and I think
상성
it's
구도에
quite
대한
good.
연구가 많았다기보다는
I guess it was not
느낌
about
가는
the
대로
like
플레이를
matchup
했다, 이런 얘기인 것
experiments. I
같은데.
guess you guys
약간의
kind of followed the feeling.
약간 연막 작전이니까
블러핑.
뭔가
약간.
숨기는 건가
Maybe
라는
this can
생각도
be a
들었습니다.
little bit of a
선수.
bluffing,
워낙 표정이 잘 보이기
going
때문에
on,
블러핑이 충분히
but we can
소용되진 않을
read
것
your
같은데
face over
오늘
here in
그
the
한타
video
같은 경우는
call.
도란 선수의 이니시가
And
굉장히
Doran,
화제가
your
됐었어요.
engage as set
어떻습니까? 그
was
이니시에
on
대해서는
point.
뭐 특별한 오더가 있었나요? 아니면 자체적인
Was this
판단을
like a
팀에서
team's
좀
call, or
맡겼습니까?
was it your own decision to go in like that?
이니시인가?
Well,
이니시가 아니라
initiation,
그냥
or rather,
이니시 했다고
I
생각한 적은
mean,
없는데
I never thought I
항상
actually initiated a fight.
있었던 것 같은데
I just like
이니시.
ulted every time there was a
initiating
fight.
거
I don't
모르겠어요.
think that was an
네,
initiation.
그럼 아니 그 사과의 말씀드리겠습니다. 이니시 아닌
Well,
걸로.
then we will
initiate
apologize. That was not an
싸움으로
engage or initiation,
싸움
okay?
이니시 맞는 거
예.
이니시 맞습니까?
No, I think that was an
네, 맞-
기억이 안 나시는
initiation.
거 아닌가요?
네네네.
그죠?
I admit
너무 좋은
it.
장면들이 많았으니까 그런
그렇죠.
얘기를 들었습니다.
예.
이니시인 듯 이니시 아닌 듯 이니시 같은 걸로 정리하도록
I
하겠습니다.
guess you are doing a lot of work
네네네.
as a team fighter.
도란 선수 세트 대 아트록스 구도
Doran,
어때요?
what's your thought on Set versus Aatrox matchup?
좋은 것 같아요.
I think Set is
그래서
good.
네. 지금 데프트 선수가 약간 예, 전략 누출하지 말아라.
클리드
I think
선수 보는
Deft
거
is
같아요.
kind of
네,
giving you
네,
the
네,
pressure
네,
not
네,
to
네,
leak
뭐 세트가
too
좀
much
좋은 거
strategy
같네요.
on
네,
interview.
어떤 이거 뭐 도란 선수 딴 거 물어볼게요. 그럼 개인적인
Then let's
느낌으로.
move on.
팀 얘기하면은 그 옆에 그 데프 선수가
Because like Deft is right next to you, giving you the
지금까지
eyes.
신인 탑
So
선수들 많이 만났잖아요. 근데
there
본인도
are a
뭐
lot
신인
of
중에 한
rookie top
명이었습니다만
laners currently in
인상
LCK.
깊은
You
신인
were
탑
also
선수
one
혹시
of
있나요?
them.
지금 만났던 선수
So who
중에서
was the most impressive rookie top player of all?
없군요.
네.
네. 없어요?
No one?
다 잘하셔서
I think
평가할
everyone
수가 없습니다.
is a good
Oh.
player, so I can't
네,
really
네.
estimate.
오늘도 뭐 그런
anyone.
느낌이었고 뭐 경험치 먹는 탑솔로다 뭐 이런 얘기가 있잖아요.
And a lot of people are
네.
saying that Doran really like
네.
is
이번에
always
몇
stacking up
레벨까지
the
올라온 것 같아요.
XP.
요즘
So
흐름도 괜찮은 것 같은데.
which
도란
level
선수.
have you hit so far?
아직 많이 남았다 생각하고 있어요.
I still have a
그래요?
long way to go. I think
어.
so.
그리고 지금 사실 그 많은 분들이 그런 얘기가 있어요. 사실 이거는
And
어떻게
a
보면
lot
데프트
of
선수한테
people
물어봐야 되는데
have been
데프트
saying
선수가
that-
인터뷰에서 그런 얘기를 했잖아요.
I mean, Deft, you
온라인
mentioned in the
장점은
earlier
옷차림이
interview
좋다.
that you can wear some comfy
옷차림이 편한 게
clothes
좋다.
for
지금
because
혹시
you guys are playing online.
위에만 유니폼 입고 있는 거 아닙니까?
Or you guys
사실
only
그래서
wearing the jerseys
상의
and like
유니폼
wearing
입은 것도
sweatpants?
아니고 목 토시처럼 잘라서 지금 걸치는
Or maybe even a cutout from your jerseys, like
POG
Just for the shot.
딱 갈아입고 왔어.
I mean, we actually
그랬구나.
changed right
예.
before the
그러면
POG
일단
interview.
옷은 세탁은 됐는데 입지는 않았군요.
I guess you guys weren't wearing during the game, right?
아니 평소에 옷은 세탁은 했는데
So you got it
입지는
like
않고 약간
all
편안하게
cleaned and
옷차림으로
ready,
경기를 하셨군요.
but you guys were wearing more comfortable
네, 옷을
clothes
입긴 했어요. 네.
during
아,
the
그래요?
옷을
game, right?
안 입고 할 수는 없죠. 네.
I mean, we did put on something.
그럼 편안한 옷 입었어. 지금
We
바지는
weren't
그러면 약간
shirtless,
편안하게
of course,
입으셨겠네요.
no.
네, 바지는 추리닝 입고 있어요.
But we
아,
were
그렇습니까?
wearing
네.
sweatpants.
도란 선수는요?
What about you, Doran?
아, 저는 프로 의식 가지고
Well, I'm a
유니폼
professional
안에
player,
있는 거
so
가봤어요.
I got all my uniforms
갑자기
ready.
그 멘트 하면 데프트가 뭐가 됩니까?
You're kind of embracing Deft right next to you.
근데 그냥 하고 싶은 대로 하래서
I mean, like they told us to do just wear whatever we want.
경기력이 잘 나올 수 있는
So-
직장으로.
Deft also saying that he, as also as a
도란 선수,
professional player,
수상할
he kind
화이팅!
of chose the perfect uniform
아,
that
네.
can kind of bring
알겠습니다.
him the perfect form.
그럼 3경기 뱀핑 얘기할까요?
네.
Let's
네.
move on to game number 3, the draft.
최근에는 많이 안 쓰였었던 탑 카르마.
Top
또
Karma,
아트록스
which was
중심조합
a little
느낌이 나는
bit
그런
off
조합을
meta
구성했다는
for
생각이
a bit of a
드는데
time.
그런 이제
and also
그
Aatrox,
조합의
so
발견
a
과정에
very unique
대해서
comp.
데프트 선수가 살짝 얘기해 줄 수
So how were
있을까요?
you guys able to kind of come up with this kind of
네.
composition?
저희도 오늘 처음 해본 조합이어서
Well, we
오늘
actually
발견했어요.
played it for the
축하드립니다.
first time, so we kind of
네.
discovered it for the first time today.
네, 어우,
축하드려요.
네,
네.
발견을 축하드립니다.
네, 발견
네.
축하드리고.
And congratulations on your discovery.
어떤 느낌이었어요?
And
생각보다
how was Affiliates
세게
game
나왔던 것
number
같은데, 이
2? It
세트는?
was stronger than everyone expected, right?
일단 라인전 단계에서 좀
Well, during
무난하게
the
갔으면은
laning phase,
이제
if there was
아펠레
no
이제부터보다는 저희 조합이
accidents,
좋다고
well,
생각했었는데
rather than an
Oh.
Affiliates versus Azrael,
서로가
I
많이
mean, overall
나와서
in comp, I think we had the stronger
잘 컸었던
composition,
것
but Affiliates
그래서
was
좀
able to kind
아쉬움을
of
많이
scale up
보여줬었군요.
enough.
자, 그래서 그 사실 출발 자체가 DRX가 약간 좀 불안한 느낌이 있었습니다만
So DRX
어쨌든
did
1라운드의
not
좋은
have the
성적만큼
best
2라운드도
start
2승
for
2패를 맞춰주고
round 2.
있거든요.
However, you guys are now
팬
kind of
여러분께
balancing
계속
it,
이어나갈 수
picking up 2
있다라고
wins in a
자신감 있게 한
row.
말씀씩 한번 부탁드릴까요?
So any last message for the fans?
도란 선수부터 할까요? 그러면
Let's start with
아니
Doran.
턱으로 밀지 말고요.
So let's give
대표에게
each other the
도란
signs.
선수부터 먼저 해봐요.
Let's start with Doran right here.
예, 응원해주셔서 감사하고
Thank you for supporting
다음
us,
경기도 잘
and we will do
해보겠습니다.
our best in the next series.
감사합니다.
네,
Thank
고맙습니다.
you.
그럼 데프트 선수도 한 말씀 부탁드릴게요.
And Deft?
네, 저희가 최근에 좀 흔들리고 있지만
Recently we've been
열심히 다
showing a little bit of a
준비하고 있어서
shaky performance, but we are
최대한
doing our
경기력
best.
올려서 다시
So we want to improve
최상위권으로
our
갈수 있게
performance and
열심히
contest to
하겠습니다.
the top
네,
spot in
감사합니다.
LCK. Thank you for
네,
supporting us
고맙습니다.
all
데프트
throughout the
선수와 도란
time.
선수의 각오 잘 들었고요. 앞으로도
So
좋은
this
경기
will
부탁드리겠습니다.
wrap up the
고맙습니다.
interview with Deft and Doran, the
감사합니다.
players of the
축하드립니다.
game for today's
네,
match
고맙습니다.
number 1, and I'm gonna pass it
자,
back to
이렇게
our
해서 한번
casters.
만나봤습니다.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ji-sun, for your interview translation as per usual. And congratulations to DRX. An adorable interview, honestly, between Doran, Deft, and Sunke. Have you noticed or did that Sunkei's like interviews are like the most hilarious and also really, really long?
I mean, he's a funny guy, so I always enjoy it.
Yeah, he's very, very good. And speaking of very good, Dragon X are one match away from T1. Remember, the Genji T1 match is our final one of the day, but we have another best of 3 between then and now. It is going to be KT taking on Griffin, who are struggling in 10th place right now. APK even ahead of them by one of those victories, and we'll see whether KT are going to continue their win streak. You can see 7 wins in a row. Only behind Genji, who are on 8 wins in a row. Their last loss was against T1. It was their only one of the season, and we'll see whether T1 can give them that loss yet again. Remember, if T1 beats Genji 2-0, then they will be tied at the top of the standings, but because T1 gave them their only loss, T1 will have head-to-head and therefore be in first place.
Oh yeah, I mean, and also you mentioned about the KT, and I really think KT right now, their performance is obviously better than DRX, and today's DRX performance was not that great, but it was just KT following them, so I think they're just scared.
Yeah, let's see whether KT can demonstrate some better play as they move into their next match up against Griffin after a short break, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back with our second best of 3 of the day.